Good morning, everybody. Gender inequality is a problem that we have faced since many years back. However, in the last decades, the gap has been reducing. Today, we are going to talk about gender inequality in politics. Our team is conformed by Manuel Viñas, Sabina Cazares, and Alfonso Muñoz. Today, we will present the paper written by Manuel Vagues and Pamela Campa called Can Gender Quotas in Candidate Lists Empower Women? Evidence from a regression discontinuity design. In first place, what is the research question of this paper? Well, the authors are trying to answer what are the effects of gender quotas in candidate lists, the quality of politicians, and the share of women elected council members in local elections. Basically, throughout the study, Bages and Campa are trying to analyze in which aspects the quotas are beneficial for women. In concrete, they want to know if the quotas manage to achieve the following points. If they improve women's representation in political and public institutions, if they achieve an improvement in the quality of politicians, if they accelerate the access to leadership positions for women, and if they allow a more robust representation of the women's preferences in the policy outcomes.
All right, now that we have talked about some general points of the paper, we can now move on to the data and the methodology. What kind of data and methods does the paper use? Firstly, the authors decided to use a regression discontinuity design, RDD, to estimate the causal impact of the quotas. They recollected the data from 4 consecutive local elections in Spain. The elections were held every 4 years, in 2003, 2007, 2011, and 2015. RTD is a useful quasi-experimental method in econometrics. This technique allows to assess causal effects by assigning cutoffs between municipalities. Bakes in Campa provide us with a robust analysis for the short and medium-term impact of quotas over the behavior of different agents, such as candidates, political parties, voters, and policymakers. Now we're going to talk about the context of the paper. We will mention where is the study taking place, in which time period, and if any important reform was implemented. First, what is a gender quota? Well, they are mandatory share established by political parties in order to nominate female candidates to either occupy a public charge or to work in office. Gender quotas have been implemented as a mechanism to reduce the underrepresentation of women in politics and public appearances. In fact, recently more than 100 countries have established some kind of gender quota. As we said earlier, the study is focused in Spain's local elections. It is important to mention that Spain has a proportional representation electoral system with closed lists. The quotas mandates the presence of 40% of candidates of each gender on the ballot in municipalities with more than 5,000 inhabitants. The municipalities are very important for the electoral and political system in Spain, as they are responsible for around 20% of the public spending. Furthermore, they are in charge of recollecting high amount of local taxes and delivering public services such as water supply, health services, and way more social services. The municipal councils are elected every 4 years through a proportional representation system with closed list.
Perfect. Now we're going to talk about the main findings of the paper. In first place, the composition of candidate lists. For example, there is evidence that show that the quotas increase significantly the share of women in political participation. Also, there was an increase in the probability that a woman becomes head or chief of a given political party. And also, there was a decrease in the political experience of some candidates. In second place, the electoral rules. There is small evidence that the quotas influence the voting behavior. However, there is no substantial improvement in the share of women in the candidate lists. In addition, the authors do not observe any significant difference in the voting turnout. In third place, the composition of the local council. Apparently, the quotas do not affect significantly the gender composition for the high position candidates, but the quotas seems to produce a significant increase in the presence of women in the council. Another interesting fact is that the quotas allow a higher participation of young people. And lastly but not least, the public policies. There is no enough evidence to conclude that the quotas change the total amount of expenditure and revenues of the municipalities. In resume, the results yielded by the econometric model, the regression discontinuity design, suggest that an increase in the female share participation in the councils do not satisfy the political capital and skills needed to affect the process of policy formation. Well, that will be all. My team and I appreciate your attention. Have a great day, and if you guys have any question, we'll be happy to answer them. Or if you have any further comment, do not hesitate to contact us. Thank you again. Goodbye.